I thought getting out of debt was the hardest financial thing I'd ever done. But I'm learning that living debt free and staying debt free, that's equally, if not more challenging. Life has really been testing my resolve on living this debt free lifestyle over the last few years. I'm gonna talk about that and more in this video. What's up, my people? My name is Diamond, and welcome back to the channel. If you know me, you know I've been talking about getting out of debt. You know I'm not doing car payments. I'm just done with it. Me and my wife decided years ago that we've lived with a credit score, we lived with credit. Let's try it another way. And so we decided to pay off our debt, close all our credit cards, and see what happens and see if we can survive and live debt free. And that started in 2016. We paid off all our debt, over $100,000 in 2019. We was done with that, and we've been debt free ever since. And the plan was to just live debt free and see how it goes, and if we can live without a credit score. And if we needed a credit score for some reason, if for whatever reason we couldn't move about this world the way we wanted to, then we could always go back and rebuild that. So we've been on that journey for a while now. Now, between 2019 and today, a lot has happened. Now, we didn't just pay off our debt. We also built up an emergency fund where we had 6 months of expenditures in an account that we just never touched unless we absolutely had to. And between 2019 and 2023, everything was smooth. You know, really didn't have no big issues. The little things that popped up, it was easily handled, no stress at all. But my middle son was born in 2022, and that was the first test. He went into the NICU for a month. Now, luckily, we had all the right medical insurance in place, so it wasn't a big out-of-pocket expense. But I'm learning that this whole being debt-free and living debt-free is deeper than just the money aspect. It's the money part to it, but it's also the mental aspect. And either one of those can get attacked and throw you off your game. So when he went into the NICU, now I had to focus on that. But what was nice about that, that was probably the biggest, well, no, not probably, that was definitely the biggest emergency type situation we had experienced since we had became debt free. But when it all went down, it was beautiful not to have to worry about, you know, taking time off work and whether it was gonna have to be paid or unpaid leave. We knew that we could just focus on our child and do whatever we needed to do on the work end, and all our bills was gonna be covered. So that was amazing. And thankfully he came home healthy. It actually didn't cost us any money. So it was like financially crisis averted. Fast forward to 2023. Now 2023 is when things really started to, life started to hit us a little bit, you know, and things started to get a little haywire, and my resolve on becoming debt free really started to be tested. In late June of 2023, my mom, she had a stroke and she lost her voice. She couldn't talk. And now me and my siblings, we're all spread out. So now we're all running back and forth across the country, trying to handle her, take care of her business, look after her. And so I'm back and forth. Now, each one of these trips is costing money. Now, some of this can just be, you know, paid out of just your regular budget, right? But it gets to a point where you do have to start tapping into the emergency fund. And this is about that time. Now, we was able to get through that between June and September. I probably took 4 or 5 trips across the country, you know, to look after my mom. And we was able to cash flow all that, just pay for it. Really didn't have to tap the budget. Tap the emergency fund at all. But then in September of 2023, the engine on my truck, you know, the one I made that video on a while back about me paying off early, that engine blew. And I took it to the dealership. They told me what was up. And of course, their suggestion was, well, you could trade it in and we can get you another one. Now, this was the first test of my resolve, because I've been talking, not just on this camera, not just to you guys on YouTube, but my inner circle, people around me, everybody know, you know, I'm done with car payments. I'm not doing that. Now, when that engine blew, you know, they quoted $15,000 to replace the engine, or they would give me $15,000 for the vehicle and I can trade it in. So I was already at the dealership. Let me go and see what they have. Went and checked out the new trucks, or just a newer version of what I had. I had a 2016 F-150 XLT, nothing crazy, just a nice little truck. And I went and looked, and I was seeing them anywhere from like 68 to like 72, kind of in that price range, 72,000, 68,000. And because I had already decided that I'm not doing debt, it was easy for me to look at the price of that vehicle, know what's in my accounts, and say, there's no way that I'm gonna spend $68,000 on a truck. I don't have $68,000 that I can spend today and drive off in a truck. I just don't. It just didn't work out like that. Now, I then went and looked at the used options. The used options, they was trying to sell me a used work truck for, I want to say it was 45. It was 45 for that. And when I say work truck, I'm talking rubber mats work truck. I'm not doing that either. And I went home and we crunched the numbers and all that. And we actually figured out a way, with the trade in, and we could put this money together, how we could have bought this new truck. But I just bought a new truck in 2016 and I paid it off in 2019. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. I just could not do it. And I couldn't do it. So I went a different route. Now I'm gonna make another video on how I went about fixing that truck, but let's just say I got it fixed for less than the $15,000 that they were talking about, or should I say, it's still in the process of being fixed. It's been a long journey, but that's a different story. But that was a big hit, because at that time, not only did the truck blow, my mom was still recovering, so I'm still gonna need to go back and forth. My wife was also pregnant at that time with baby number 3, and she was pregnant with baby number 3, and the baby was due in November. So I literally have less than 3 months before the vehicle that we currently have, which was a 2010 Nissan Altima 2-door coupe, and we already had 2 kids. We was already at a point where we couldn't really fit everybody in the vehicle, and now baby number 3 is about to come. So, when people say I need to buy a car, I was in a position where I absolutely needed to buy a car, but I'm not going to do it with debt. That was a major test. And what that taught me was, if you decide before something happened how you're going to handle it when it do happen, it's going to help you navigate those emotions at the time. Because you can imagine, waking up one day, the car that you drive is paid off, is perfect for the family. One day that car just stops working. You go to the dealership and they want to sell you a new car at $68,000, and your wife is pregnant, and that once this baby comes, you don't have transportation to get your family around, not even to doctor's appointments and what have you. So what do? This is where I see a lot of people, even in the comments on some of my other videos, people get into it where they say things like, I was forced to do this, or I had no choice, and then we make a financial mistake. And this is how it goes. When it comes to this debt stuff, it seemed like when it comes to emergencies, when it comes to an emergency, debt is always an option. They always put debt on the table as a way to solve your problem. Now, if you've been in debt, or if you're working your way through debt, you know that while it may be easier to use debt in the moment, it's always harder down the line. And so whenever something come up, I'm talking about, I need tires. I go to the tire shop. We pick out the tires. Up everywhere. No interest. Sign up for our care card. Sign up for this. 18 months, no interest financing. Like everywhere you go, the dentist office, everywhere. No matter what the emergency is, somebody's always offering some type of debt product to get you through it. I mean, I feel like I'm out here like ducking and dodging debt. Like, no, get off me. No, get off me. That's how I feel trying to navigate life without using debt, because debt is just thrown in your face so much. But you have to have the resolve to stick to your guns. What did you say? Are you going to be debt free? Are you going to stick with this? Then do it. And now it's time to put up or shut up. And that's how it felt. But All that sounds good, and it's easy to do when you got a nice pile of cash over there that you can just tap into, do what you need to do. But when life start hitting you, and then you do start tapping into the emergency fund like we had to do, it starts to get real. You know, the more you tap that emergency fund, every time you tap it, you know, it's getting real. It's getting real. It's getting real, because you have to rebuild the emergency fund. You know, you save up the money to have it in there. Now, once you use it, you have to put it back. But, you know, life don't care about what you got going on. They don't care. Life don't care about my plans. It's not like it's going to look at my personal situation and say, okay, this guy's going through a lot, so I'm going to leave him alone for a little while. No, that's not how it go. In fact, it feels like the opposite. Once life start hitting you, it's going to keep hitting you and keep hitting you and keep hitting you until you can get through that particular season. So that emergency fund is the safe haven that can help me stay out of debt, and it can help you stay out of debt. But once that emergency fund starts getting depleted, you have to start trying to rebuild it. And that part is going to be hard, because again, if you're like me, life is going to keep happening. And I only told you a few of the things that happened, but life kept picking at me all through 2023. And it wasn't until this year, 2024, where it started to feel like things was kind of leveling out and getting back to normal. So while life is hitting me, emergencies are coming up, we're tapping into our emergency fund, that's getting depleted. The only thing I had to rely on to remain debt free, and I am still debt free to this day. In fact, I'm building up a house and renovating the house fully debt free. I'm putting more about that out in videos later. But the only thing that kept me on my journey of living this debt-free lifestyle was the fact that I said it beforehand, and I truly believe, and I feel it deep down in my spirit, that I'm going to remain debt-free, and we're going to live this debt-free lifestyle. So I had to lean on that and have those internal conversations with myself. Like, you've been talking this talk, now are you going to walk this walk? This is your first challenge. Are you going to give up right now, or are you going to walk through this thing held high and get through it on the other side? And that is what helped me get through those different emergencies. And now it's time to start rebuilding that emergency fund, because I know that it's not a matter of if something's going to come up. It's just a matter of when. And having that emergency fund, it's already been proven to me that having the emergency fund is what's going to give you. It's your safeguards when you have these life events that come up. So now it's time to rebuild that emergency fund. And I'm going to be honest, rebuilding the emergency fund, I feel like it's harder than it was the first time. Probably because I got 3 kids now. That's 3 college funds, investing for retirement, still got to live, and build this emergency fund. Yeah, it's tough, but I have to do it. I have to do it for me. I have to do it for my family. All of our long-term financial goals is predicated on this idea of living debt-free and not giving our money away to the banks and paying off payments and doing all that. We would like to use our money, and this is what we've learned since we have became debt-free. It's a joy to get paid and then decide what we want to do with our money, instead of having to pay everybody else, and then whatever's left is what we get to decide to do whatever we want to do. Which, back when we was getting out of debt, when we was up to our eyeballs in debt, it wasn't a whole lot extra after we paid everybody else. So I wanted to make this quick video just to tell that story about, living debt free, and encourage folks out there who are on the path to becoming debt free. Encourage them to continue. I want y'all to continue that journey, become debt free. And if you're living debt free, I want you to know that there are people out here who are walking with you, who understand what you're going through. And when those life emergencies hit, use that emergency fund if you have to, cash flow it if you can, but stay away from the debt. Don't go back to those old ways, because if you like me and you're experienced living debt free, it's a joy. So check out my other videos on how I became debt free, some of the mistakes I made, and the things that I've learned. If this is your type of content, then subscribe to the channel and put a like on this video. Share it with a friend who can use this information. And until next time, I'm Diamond. Peace.